ॐ तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्तिः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ जयन्ती मङ्गलकाली भद्रकाली कपालिनी दुर्गा क्षमा शिवदात्री स्वाहा स्वादा नमोस्तुते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Sai Ram Lyn, Sai Ram from Malaysia.
Sai Ram Sharma, Sai Ram from New Zealand. Thank you, Swami, for permitting Sharma and I, in fact, inspiring us to talk more about your lineage, where you came from, in terms of your descent from great, great rishis and noble beings. Now, we welcome our listeners, and we hope you find this interesting, because even I had to, in my early days in the ashram, once I had heard Swami's, he had given several discourses actually about his lineage, because people were saying, where did he come from? You know, he must have come from somewhere. He didn't just appear under a cabbage leaf. He must have had some kind of ancestry. We want to know. Even divine beings have ancestry. And so our talk today is Sage Bharadwaja Part 2. Because, as we said in the earlier talk, Swami spoke that he had been descended from the Bharadwaja lineage. Now, the rest of that quote was, Swami said he was also from the Apastamba Stotram. Now, what is a stotram? A stotram is literally a literary genre of beings who compose religious texts, which are meant to be melodically sung. And a stotra can be a prayer, a description, or a conversation, but it always has a poetic structure. And Swami often began his discourses with poems. Now, many stotra hymns praise aspects of the divine, such as Shiva and Vishnu. In fact, the word itself comes from the Sanskrit root stu, which means to praise. And one of the most notable stotras are the Shiva Tandrabam, in praise of Lord Shiva, and the Rama Raksha Stotra, which is a prayer for the protection for protection of Lord Rama. Now, Apastamba, there's actually very little that we know about Apastamba himself. He was a great sage. He was not a scribe. He was not a mathematician. But it is said he was probably lived around 600 BC. But there's very, very little known about him. He simply was interested in mathematics, using it for religious purposes, and no need to go into that because he was a Vedic priest. He probably instructing people in the way of conducting religious rites and hymns. So Swami has said he was from the Bharadwaja Gotra lineage and the Apastamba Stotra. Now, the thing is Swami himself was a wonderful poet, and he could sing any divine hymn. He knew all of the sacred literature without ever having to study. He is it. He is the embodiment of these divine scriptures. He was the inspiration for them. That's why he knew them so well. He was the artist who created these great texts, and he has stated that part of his mission was to restore this lost knowledge, because in India, of course, there are many sages and seers and scribes and priests who do nothing but study these great texts. But how often do we get to meet someone like this? You have to go to India in many cases, and if you're fortunate enough, you can attend a ritual like a yagna, if that is the sort of thing you would be interested in, or some other kind of performance of great religious hymns. Prashanti Nilayam itself is the premier location for hearing the Vedas chanted perfectly, and there is a library in Prashanti Nilayam where devotees may do research on all these mystical and mysterious matters. Sufficient to say, I have been to this library, and you can spend hours there perusing the great ancient texts and also Swami's discourses. Of course, you cannot take the books out of the library, but it is a very good place to go and study them. For those of us who cannot go to Prashanti Nilayam, there is plenty of material online now for those who have some interest in these things. For example, the Apastamba Stotras have a great connection to mathematics. How can that be? Swami said that mathematics are one of the highest forms of truth. And so it is clear that Apastamba, part of the lineage of Swamis, as well as being a priest and a teacher of religious practices, he must have been a very skilled craftsman. He himself constructed altars of the highest quality. So, as I said, for those who are interested in that kind of thing and how Apastamba used mathematics in the composition of these great hymns, it is all available for you online. Simply Google Apastamba. That is Apastamba. He is sometimes called an author of one of the most interesting Indian Subal Sutras from a mathematical point of view. So for those of you who are yawning and thinking, Lyn, this is too far above me, I think I will just go back to listening to something a little bit more on my interest level, I can only say enjoy, because Swami is a great mystery. He has said no one can really understand him. We can only explore these little snippets that he gave, these little hints of where he came from and who he is, to try to wrap our minds around just a fraction of his magnificent glory. I can tell you that being in his divine presence, I felt there was nothing he did not know. I felt he knew everything about me, all of my little lives, all of my little problems, all of my little areas of my life that I needed to improve upon. And for me, that was his greatest gift. Because, to be perfectly honest, I thought I was a bad girl. And when Swami looked into my eyes and said, "You are a good girl," my heart literally burst from my chest with joy. Think of that. Think of this great, great being, descended from the wisest and purest of the most greatest souls we could ever imagine, men of such great, great learning and wisdom, that he came to earth in 3 incarnations, and we have the 3rd one to look forward to, and it's just around the corner, this great incarnation of Lord Shiva and Lord Shakti. Om Shri Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Om Tasmat Karunya Bhavena Rakcha Rakcha Sai Ishvara. Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Sai Ishvara Arpanamastu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.